It all started back with the Boeing company in Seattle before the war, and in fact, Boeing almost lost its shirt building this airplane. Why? It was very, very expensive, but they felt that there was a need for a long-range maritime patrol aircraft, and they knew that war was inevitable because of the situation both in the Pacific and certainly in Europe. The military said we need a multi-engine aircraft. Boeing said, why restrict ourselves to 2 engines? They decided to go with 4. Gave it longer legs, great deal of lift capability, uses the big, heavy, fat wings as opposed to the thinner wings. These are Wright Cyclone radial engines. They're a Wright Cyclone 1820-97. The 1820, 1,820 cubic inches, -97 the model number. Made by Wright Cyclone, but also by other companies under contract to meet the need. This is really the first generation of the big airplanes. And it was because of this airplane that the checklist was developed, because it's so complex. Starting at the very nose, it's a 10-man crew, 4 officers and 6 enlisted men. Starting at the very beginning, over my shoulder here, is the Bombardier. He manned the Norden bomb site. He also supervised the loading of the bombs. In flight, he'd go back to the bomb bay, arm the bombs, and then he'd be back at the nose position, and he was responsible for this chin turret. Through that lever that you see up on the side, that would flip forward, and he would actually operate this chin turret from that. So he was both the bomb aimer, the bombardier, also the gunner when needed. Directly behind him and to his left rear sat the Navigator, and of course he did the navigating, including, if you look up top, there's a Navigator's dome. He could actually use an aerial sextant, an astro compass, to get bearings and so on for long-range operations. Then you crawl underneath and up to literally a flight deck, and there's the pilot and co-pilot, traditional left pilot, right co-pilot. The crew chief standing behind them was the senior enlisted man on board the airplane. He doubled as the top turret gunner, so when the fighters appeared, up he'd pop into that turret, and that would rotate 360 and elevate just about straight up. After him came the bomb bay. Now this aircraft, everybody says, well, how many bombs did it carry? An average 6,000 to 8,000 pounds. Of the heavy bombers, this probably carried the lightest load, but it was the sturdiest airplane. Then after the bomb bay compartment comes the radio room. Now, you have to figure today, modern radios, you can do everything with a very small box. In those days, because of the different frequencies, crystals, and so on, they had different sets, so they needed an actual compartment to do it, including Morse code. Because of the ranges that they would operate, you need low frequency to reach out farther. On takeoff, each engine will put out 1,200 horsepower, so we go with 4,800 horsepower on takeoff at about 42, 46 inches of manifold. We baby it because there's not many left. Of the 12,731 built, there's about 8 of them that are still airworthy. So we'll put out about 4,800 horsepower on takeoff, and we lift at 92 knots.
Takeoff checklist complete.
All right, we'll follow the Diamond number 2 to land. 8201, get back.
Here comes the power.
Brakes are off.
That's what 4,800 horsepower feels like right there. Just like a jet, you get pushed back.
92 knots.
Sideways.
All right, my gear's up. My gear's up.
Charlie, Carolina.
All the freeway around. Got it.
19er.
That's why we, as the Commemorative Air Force, exist. And if you look on the patch here, it says 1939 to 45. We are here for 3 reasons. 1, to commemorate that period in time, 1939 to 45. To commemorate the men and women, both on the war front and back at home, who built these, and to bring that history to the public. And lastly, to keep these aircraft flying. When you're in there and you look at things, you look around and you go, my goodness, 18-year-old kids going to war in this. it speaks volumes. And even I can't put it into words, and I can talk a lot. You can't put it into words. You've got to experience it. You've got to feel it. And even then, after that, I'll ask you that question, and I bet you're going to have a hard time putting it into words, because it's just a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
Alpha Charlie 429er, clear for takeoff on runway 28 left.
Roger, Tower. Alpha Charlie 429er, clear for takeoff.